Hello and welcome to Tobacco Road and Abroad. And on this episode, I'm joined with Gareth Parsons. I'm Aiden Moore, and today I wanted to open up with a little monologue. Recently, we just witnessed Masters Week, one of the greatest weeks in all of golf. There was drama, there was theatrics, and there was moments that I'll remember for a while because I'm such a big fan. But the first thing that I was reminded when I was watching this Masters, and I'm gonna bring out a little bit of analogy for this. And if it doesn't land, it doesn't land. But if it does, it does. One of the greatest NASCAR drivers of all time is Dale Earnhardt, and storied career, absolute legend. But for 20 years, he was chasing the white whale of the Daytona 500. He had a stacked Hall of Fame career, won at Daytona, the race itself, multiple times, but never won that Daytona 500 for 20 years. For 20 long years, he kept on trying to win to win basically what was the Super Bowl of NASCAR. And on that 20th year in 1997, I believe, he was able to persevere and he won the Daytona 500, basically capping what was his storied career until his unfortunate demise, a couple years later. I saw moments of that this weekend in the Masters. Roy McIlroy, one of the most elite golfers of our age right now, had the PGA Championship, the US Open, and the British Open multiple times over. He was one away from the career Grand Slam, a club not many people can get into, a club with the likes of Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, Jack Nicholson, Arnold Palmer, legends of the game. Roy McIlroy was the next one in line for so long. For 12 years, he tried. But every time in the Masters, he would fall apart. Things wouldn't line up. Misfortune would happen. And for that back nine of the final round, I saw glimpses of that collapse looming. And I was like, this couldn't be the year. Things just weren't aligning for him. But somehow, some way, he was able to pull it together and beat his master's curse from 12 years ago when he was about to win, and then scored 80 on the last round of the Masters, where on the 10th hole he shanked it so far into the woods he was in the housing district. I never even knew there was houses on the Masters, yet he was there that first time in the Masters. And that round stayed in his mind and is what the media has brought up year after year after year after year. And McIlroy this year finally was able to get that monkey off his back. So congratulations to Roy McIlroy for winning the Masters. But let's do a little breakdown of the final round, highlight some of the drama and just the moments that I'll remember for a while. Roy McIlroy started off his final round really strong, starting the first 9 holes, 1 under par. First hole, he scored a double bogey, but was able to make it up on holes 3 and 4, where he scored a birdie. And on the 9th hole, he was able to get one below, going into the back nine -1. 10th hole, the hole that has been his devil, he was able to score a birdie. And at this point, I was like, Roy's got it in the bag. But then the dreaded amen corner came. 11th hole, bogey. Was able to get through the 12th hole with par, which on that hole, if you're able to escape with par, I'll take it. Well, on the 13th hole, he scored a double bogey. I saw the collapse happening. 14th hole, bogey. Again, like it's looking bad. This time, Justin Rose, who was starting to kind of string together like a late stage run, started off this week really strong. First and second rounds, he was ahead. Really weak third day, but in the final round, he was absolutely moving it and making the plays that need to be happen. Escaped amen corner with a birdie, birdie, birdie. Amazing. Got a bogey on 14th hole. Strung together two more birdies, and then finished on the 18th hole. He set the precedent. He like pretty much tied with Roy McIlroy and said with a birdie and basically said, "Come and get it, man. Like you got it." Like he told him like basically it was like you got to win this one now. The Justin Rose did his best, put his like best cards out there, and Roy McIlroy needed to deliver. Go into the 17th hole, he scored a birdie. Now he's one ahead of Justin Rose. Goes into 18th hole, he needs to make a par. Roy McIlroy flubs the putt for par, scores a bogey. This brings us into sudden death. This rules are it's 1v1 sudden death holes. Whoever gets the best score on the hole wins. If there's a tie, they move to the next hole. Starting on 18th hole, both really great drives. Justin Rose on his second shot gets in the sand, and then Roy McIlroy absolutely sticks his second shot on the green about like 3 feet away from the hole. But Roy McIlroy's weakness has been his putting. Like his putting throughout this round has been like absolutely like horrendous. Like he's just the nerves have been getting to him. Justin Rose is able to escape with par, which leaves Roy McIlroy with the basically final shot. He's got to see if he can secure it. If he makes the birdie, he wins. If he misses, which he is prone to do, like they got to move on to the next hole. Roy McIlroy with finally channeling all that energy, all of that nerves, is able to knock in the final putt to win the Masters, win his first green jacket, and secure the career Grand Slam, solidifying himself in golf, like in the Golf Hall of Fame. It was an absolute like emotional moment. Like almost brought me to tears, man. Like just the sheer emotion of the moment. Like he was finally able to like get his white whale he was trying to get for so long. And I know for a fact there wasn't like a pub in like all of Ireland that wasn't just absolutely losing their mind on this one. Like it was midnight, but like I saw videos, everyone was going like absolutely insane. So really great weekend from the Masters, one for the history books. And yeah, like that was just like that's kind of my breakdown of the Masters and all that went down. In other news, Bryson DeChambeau, he had a great spot going into round four. He was paired up with Roy McIlroy. Unfortunately, just did not really pull it together in that final nine. He was like, the lights were kind of too bright for him. Like just it was not his day. And any other Patrick Reed able to make some noise in that final round, having a really strong 6 through 9, scoring a streak of 4 birdies, and even scoring an eagle on hole 17, sinking it in from the fairway. That really put him in a good spot, but at that point, Justin Rose had already kind of like taken over. It was a great shot, and he put his best foot forward, but in the end, it just wasn't enough. Scotty Scheffler also made a little bit of noise. Unfortunately, slipped up on holes 4 and 12, which kind of costed him a little bit. Other than that, shooting 5 birdies on the round. Overall, very solid week of golf. I enjoyed it a lot. I was tuned into that final round, and it didn't disappoint, and as it always like never fails to do. But yeah. Anyway, that's my takeaways from this week's Masters.
Yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't able to watch much of it because I was coaching. There's a period there on Sunday where I thought Scotty Scheffler was going to do it again. There was moments there where I'm like, particularly, I forget what hole it was, but it was, I don't know if Rose, I don't think Rose had a bad hole, but it was one of the double bogey by
Hmm.
it was one of the double bogey holes by why can't I say his name?
McElroy.
McElroy, yeah.
Yeah, hole
It was,
13.
and I was like, yeah, it was about hole 13 and 14. I'm like, yeah, Scheffler may just mess around and do it again, but
Yeah,
yeah, that's not what happened.
yeah,
But no, I don't have anything else to add. No, I will
yeah.
say it is a good feeling, like because that was a name like I'm not too familiar with golf. Like my dad enjoyed watching Phil Mickelson, Bubba Watson's another one I always enjoyed watching. I forget where he finished or if he was even playing. I know.
He actually like did like pretty solid. Tied for I think tied for 14th. If Yeah, tied for 14th. He shot -3. Like nothing like amazing, but like he did have a pretty solid final round, going 4 under par. So Bubba Watson had a pretty solid turnout. Nothing like amazing, but like it was fun seeing him play for a little bit. He had a pretty solid weekend. Phil Mickelson, I believe, did not make the cut though, so
No,
he
he
did.
didn't.
Yeah, he didn't. But yeah,
Shall we proceed? Where should we go next?
uh, let's go into UFC 314.
That one was fun to watch. I'll let you go because I'll let you start off because you have more of the knowledge and you probably saw more than I did. I got to see a few select fights throughout the night, but
Yeah, so UFC 314 did not disappoint whatsoever. Um, Going through the pay-per-view, very solid all around. Dominic Reyes got the TKO over Nikita Krylov in the first round. Absolutely dominant performance by him. Just great to see Dominic Reyes do it again. And definitely with the light heavyweight like title, like still like kind of a little bit more up for grabs now with Alex Pereira being dethroned. I'm interested to see what Dominic Reyes can do. Going on into the featherweight bout of the night, we had Bryce Mitchell versus Gene Silva. Gene Silva absolutely put on a clinic, submitting Bryce Mitchell in the second round by guillotine choke. I love this choke a lot, and Gene Sylvia just was able to like outstrike and outgrapple Bryce Mitchell. Uh, Bryce Mitchell, of course, like a very polarizing figure. Like I think the less said about him right now, the better. But Gene Sylvia absolutely put on a great performance. Liked seeing this fight a lot. Just the amount of strikes like taken to Bryce Mitchell was crazy. Like this fight was lopsided as like hell in my opinion. Um, I think Gene Sylvia landing 37 of 66 total strikes, going 36 for 64 in significant strikes. Um, Great performance by Gene Sylvia going into the featherweight. This was one that I kept a really big eye on, considering that Patricio Pitbull was making his UFC debut But in the end, what can I say? Like, uh, I'm a fight knower. I know the fights, I predict them, and I know what works and what doesn't work. And I knew Yuri Rodriguez, lanky, alien ass body was just going to be too much for Patricio Pitbull. Like, I think Yuri Rodriguez was his match. Patricio Pitbull, I respect him a lot. Did great work in Bellator, but just Yuri Rodriguez was able to take control of all 3 rounds. Unanimous decision by the judges. Each scorecard reflecting 30-27. Really great performance by Yuri Rodriguez. And I'm just kind of seeing what's the future of Patricio Pitbull in this league. Um, uh, Actually, so if you want to get technical with it, Patricio Pitbull's only UFC win, if you can call it, is against Michael Chandler because in Bellator they did fight, and Patricio Pitbull did take down Michael Chandler. Which, with how Michael Chandler did his fight, I know there's definitely going to be some more narratives going in with Bellator and their talent pool. Nobody was ever really saying that Bellator has a talent pool that can rival the UFC, but it was always a really great league to get your start up in. And but with Patricio Pitbull meeting his match, I'm just interested to see where he goes from here in his UFC career, especially considering the fact that he already has what, over 40 fights, professional fights so far. He's got to be getting to near the end of his career right now. And starting off your debut in the UFC with such a decisive loss definitely has questions of retirement going into the future. But speaking of Michael Chandler, we have the lightweight fight bout between Michael Chandler and Paddy Pimblett. I'm gonna have to say this now. I was telling Garrett this going into the filming of this podcast. This is the first time I'm not reluctant to bring up Paddy Pimblett. Paddy Pimblett proved that he is a main card caliber fighter right now. He is number one. He's got the draw. People love to see him. But one thing that's always hesitate, I've been very hesitant saying about Paddy Pimblett. It's just the fact that I just don't think he's all that elite, and there's been some kind of sketchy wins before, wasn't necessarily. I believe it was the Jared Gordon fight that I thought he lost. Um, Definitely I had some questions about Paddy Pimblett going into this fight. Not really an impressive UFC resume, with all due respect, in my opinion. Uh, like, got love for Ken Green and all, and of course, you got to pay your respects to Tony Ferguson, but Tony Ferguson, as I have stated multiple times before, is not an impressive win in the UFC. But it wasn't just the fact that Paddy Pimblett beat Michael Chandler, in my opinion. That, in my mind, was almost inevitable, but not inevitable in the sense obviously Paddy is better. It was just more of if you're this hyped up right now, you got to take care of Michael Chandler. You can't just beat him. You got to dominate him. And Paddy Pimblett dominated Michael Chandler in this one. Uh, Absolute striking. Paddy Pimblett just showed his striking in this one, and it showed up really strong in the second round and in the third round where Paddy Pimblett got that KO. Um, just, I think Paddy Pimblett now is, and this has been the consensus now, is a lightweight contender right now. He is one fight away from getting a title shot right now, which is a very interesting world we live in right now. Because if you told me 2 years ago that Paddy Pimblett is a top 5 lightweight fighter, I would say you're a little bit crazy. But like you can make the argument that he's like in the top five or at least the top six in my opinion. Michael Chandler, like I know like top seven lightweight. I know like I think that was a little bit of a generous give for him. Uh, Not the most impressive UFC career, but I will say this: just the way that Paddy Pimblett was able to handle a top 10 lightweight in the manner that he did makes me say, like, we got to give Paddy Pimblett a little bit more respect. Um, I'm interested to see what the matchmaking might be for Paddy Pimblett in the future. But I will say this: Michael Chandler, like, man, I love Michael Chandler. Like, he's such a likable personality, like very like just up and at him, he's like you see his personality on like Instagram and like all his podcasts that he does, and you go like, you know what, this is like just a very likable guy. But I just gotta ask, like, maybe waiting 2 years for Conor McGregor wasn't necessarily the best move. I understand the financial reasons for it. Getting a fight with Conor McGregor can set you up for life. Dustin Poirier decided to forego fighting for a lightweight title just to fight Conor McGregor again because that's how much money you can make off of a Conor McGregor fight. I'm not faulting Michael Chandler for it. I'm just observing like a really crappy situation where we were robbed of a like what could have been a much better career in the UFC. Obviously, Michael Chandler is gonna like be remembered as a great MMA personality. He's going to be remembered for his like time in Bellator, but there's always going to be that woulda, coulda, shoulda. Like, what if Michael Chandler was able to fight McGregor in a timely manner? What if Michael Chandler decided to not go with Conor McGregor and decided to continue his like fighting career uh, after his loss to Dustin Poirier? Um, I'm just, I think, yeah, like in my mind, we're risking seeing what happened to Tony Ferguson happening to Michael Chandler, and I really don't want to see that. But that leads us into the featherweight main event for the title: Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez. Alrighty. So for this fight, I can say I do have elite fight knowledge. And did I say Diego Lopez was going to win? Yes. But this fight wasn't Alexander. This fight was not Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez. This was Alexander Volkanovski versus Alexander Volkanovski in this one. I feel bad for Diego Lopez. Like, well, I don't feel like horrible. I do think he's going to have his time in the featherweight, but damn it, he just went against the GOAT, and like Alexander Volkanovski was fighting Father Time, and Alexander Volkanovski won this one. Um, Volkanovski just able to like put on a very, very impressive fight, getting the unanimous decision, getting those significant strikes to the head. Oh my gosh, he was like putting it on Diego Lopez round after round. I think like the left hook, just like keeping it on the face, upper body. Like he was like absolutely striking the hell out of him. But also, Alexander, when it went to the ground, Alexander Volkanovski got 1 minute and 18 seconds worth of control, while Diego Lopez was only able to get 5. That was something that really surprised me right there because, yes, Alexander Volkanovski, a lot of his losses as of late have been through knockout, but like I think like through Islam Makhachev, like he did get out grappled a little bit. And Diego Lopez is a very formidable Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner. And I just saw like it going horribly for Volkanovski, but Volkanovski was able to pull through. And right now, like it's Volkanovski's the goat of featherweight right now, in my opinion. Just I don't know what the future is going to hold for him. He could very well lose his next fight in featherweight, but just the fact that he's able to take his title back Granted, would I have liked it to be against Ilya Tapora? Yes, I would. But just being able to get that title back when at the ripe age of, I believe, 36, I would have to look this up again. Uh, I believe he is, hang on, I think he's 38, maybe. Hang on. Ali Mouse. He is 36 years old. That's pretty old. And being able to take the title back at his age, you gotta say, is like very impressive. And I'll like I'm a Volkanovski believer again. Not that I was ever denying. I just like thought he was going to go the way of all the fighters that we've been seeing who've been just a little bit past their prime. But Volkanovski, Tom Brady'd it, and he was able to prove that like he's got more left in him. And I think this was a great emotional win for Volkanovski. He was able to really conquer that demon of age and really just kind of give the world a really feel good story. So that's my breakdown of the fights. We could probably go into maybe potential matches in the future. I would like to see, like, I'm probably going to maybe give my guesses of what's next for Volkanovski and Paddy the Baddy. But Gareth, do you want to give any takeaways from the Paddy Pimblett fight or Volkanovski?
Yeah, I wasn't able to see much of the Paddy Pimblett fight. I mean, I'm sure you noted on it. For those who don't know, technical difficulties. I had to step away for a second. I had to switch mics. So, but obviously, Paddy Pimblett, I thought for like the first couple of seconds, it looked like it was about to be even, but like sure Aiden said, he kind of beat the crap out of him. Wasn't really close. Then obviously in the final round, Paddy just took care of business. He just kind of looked like Michael Chandler just kind of looked like a dead man walking there in that third round. Like it wasn't even close. Like, and like you said, I know you brought up the him kind of waiting on the Conor McGregor fight not being kind of the best move, but this could be more of a question for you. Is when fighters wait for a certain thing, like a certain fight like that, does it usually pan out pretty well, or is that usually kind of a frowned upon decision waiting for a fight like that?
Okay, so this is a very like it's a very like up for debate topic because there is this like notion in like the UFC of like an MMA in general of cage rust, which is like you're out for a while, your next fight isn't going to be the best. I think this is a very I think it's a very dishonest uh like take. Like in my opinion, like if you sit out for a year or even two, I don't think it necessarily is that damaging to your career because like yes, you're not like number one, we have to like admit these are athletes. They're
Yeah,
trained in their profession. They're not sitting on their like ass like for 2 years just eating Cheetos. Like Michael Chandler was training hard for like 2 years. But there is also the like topic of like, yeah, you can wait 2 years, but like you're still going to be 2 years older. And if you're in your 30s, late 30s, or getting into your mid 30s, that's when things kind of get a little bit sketchy. If I had to give like my full opinion, like I'm just gonna have to say like I don't fully know because like I've seen instances where it works and I've seen instances where like it really doesn't work. And like in my opinion, like I don't think it was like the worst decision for Michael Chandler. I don't want to say like, oh, he wasted his career waiting for McGregor. He had a very successful MMA career in Bellator. I just like there's always going to be like these what ifs from years on now, like just like wondering what would have happened if he didn't wait. But overall, like it's just kind of up in the air. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And then obviously for the Volkanovski fight, I thought it was a decent fight. Initially, I'm probably sure you mentioned this when I was off air, that it looked like a pretty, it looked like Volkanovski kind of had the fight, not dead to rights, but it looked like he was in control for like the first couple rounds. I know there was some argument there whether, the commentators were talking about whether it could have been like 1-1 or 2-1 at one point. But I think that third round, Volkanovski was able to just kind of like, it wasn't as convincing as the other rounds, but he was just kind of able to cement that he was the better fighter in that round.
yeah,
What I will say, this could just be all optics. I will say to tie these two fights together, Paddy Pimblett made like the point about like why he's wearing cornrows is he's like obviously when I played the UFC games he's like I made my character have cornrows, but he's like also I've noticed with the long hair, judges and commentators seem to think I get rocked in the face more than I do, but he's like it's
yeah.
just the long hair. I think that might have been some of the case for this hits against Lopez with how long his hair is. I'm not saying obviously I think Volkanovski should have won,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying with that hair at times it was hard to tell how hard Volkanovski was hitting Lopez. Like
I
I'm like there.
mean, you see, here's my thing with that. Like, I think for Patty's case, like that can be a pretty good argument, especially when you're considering the fact that like a lot of his competition, like, is not the peak UFC. So you want to like, there's sometimes like I've been in it too, like where your like hair goes back and like it does kind of over exaggerate stuff for a little bit. But if I have to be honest, the margins on that is very small. Like I don't if you get rocked, you get rocked. Like hair is not going like I don't think hair is that much of a factor.
Oh,
Granted,
I'm not.
like well no, I'm not saying like it exaggerates anything or anything like that. Or like softens or anything like that. Softens the blow or anything like that. But like it's just one of those things. Like I could definitely see that for Patty Pimblett. In the Volkanovski fight, I wouldn't necessarily like. We just know Volkanovski's a very powerful striker.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We have that like it's
There's
kind of
precedent.
like yeah, it's precedent. It's like the fact that we've seen him fight for so long and we know what he can do. Like that, like if Lopez like like from what we view, gets like knocked back a little bit. Like we're going like, yeah, that's Volkanovski. For Pimblett's case, like, yeah, he hasn't been like fighting like the top of competition. So like any little thing that can like make it look like he's not getting rocked is like going to help. My thing is like the thing is with a lot of fighters, like they say like, "Oh, I wasn't rocked," and they legit believe they weren't rocked. But that you can only take that so far. Like there are
Yeah,
times where like the fighters will say like, "Oh, I wasn't out," like because they legit believe it. But it's the job of like the ref and like judges to be the deciding factor on that. Like, granted, there are times where like stops happen where it probably shouldn't happen, but I usually kind of agree with what the refs and like the judges say is fair play because at the end of the day, their opinion's the only one that matters. So
yeah.
I think it's a very interesting talking point, though. Like, it's
Yeah,
definitely something that uh, like
yeah,
maybe I would have to kind of go back and like watch some old Patty fights when he had his hair down. So like really kind of like see his point. But like right now, I'll give his theory a like MythBusters. It's plausible.
yeah. And I wasn't saying that I feel like it had affected the score of the Lopez Volkanovski fight. I just said from like a viewership point, like it
Hmm.
looked like upon like you'd see a replay, like oh, you know, he did hit him that hard, or oh, okay, that one just like grazed him there a little bit. I'm just saying for me, it's more of a viewership thing where it's like when I'm watching sometimes period with ones with longer hair, it's like, oh shit, he just got his bell rung, and then I'm like, oh, just grazed him. Or there's sometimes where it's like, damn, he didn't hit him that hard. And then upon further review, I'm like, oh my god, his face fully recoiled. Good God, I didn't see that.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but, but no,
But
I don't know if I have much else to add. I mean, I didn't get to see many of the fights. One fight I did see was now, and I want to ask your opinions on it. It was I forget who it was because I lost my browser real quick. It was I believe it was the Brazilian lady versus it
oh,
was
Farina Jam uh, Diabrora versus Yan Xiaozhen.
yeah, they were saying the commentators were talking about how the winner of that is likely going to have a fight with Wei Li. Wei Li was
Hmm.
that really good female fighter we talked about last summer who has just been like absolutely dominant. Like
Yeah,
even
yeah,
when you
yeah,
think
yeah.
he's dead to rights, she finds a way out of it and just absolutely pummels someone.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Weili is, well, Zhang Weili is the women's strawweight champion, and she's really like solid in the strawweight. Like I admire her a lot. I believe it was. Hang on, let me pull up her fight history because she like a little while ago had a oh yeah, it was Suarez that we talked about. Like a lot of people had Suarez in that fight, and like that was the one where I was saying like don't count Weili out, and she delivered on the unanimous decision. But yeah, just going on a pretty like solid run. Last loss was in 2021 against Rose Namajunas, uh, who once again is a like really tough woman's strawweight. But yeah, I would definitely be really interested to seeing who could win that one. But I mean, speaking of like women's fight, I do want to talk about Juliana Pena. She does have a fight coming up, I believe, in UFC 315. That's going up against. Hang on, let me uh, pull this up. Where, well, first off, she recently beat Pennington for the title, and then now is the bantamweight uh, champion. Hang on. I think, though, let me pull this up. Ooh. And yeah, I think it's 315. No, it's not 315. That's Shevchenko versus Fiorot. Let's see. What was the? I think it's 316 with the O'Malley card. Yeah, so Pena is going to be fighting Kyla Harrison, which I think is interesting. But the reason why I bring this up is because Amanda Nunes has just announced that she is coming out of retirement after being inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame, which I think is really, really interesting because Pena was itching for that rematch against Nunes because I believe uh, Nunes has two. No, wait. Is it two or one? I know Juliana Pena won, won and took the title from Nunes, but I don't know if they did one before that. I think. Let's see. Yeah, no, it's still tied. I mean, Amanda Nunes has one, and Julia Pena has that first one. So with Amanda Nunes coming out of retirement, I'm really interested to see if Juliana Pena wins against uh, Harrison to see if like we could possibly get the Amanda Nunes Juliana Pena fight again. If that happens, like all the hype, all the like chatter outside the cage can kind of stop, and we can kind of see it happen again. I would probably have Nunez in that one, but like I'm not counting Pena out in anything. I feel like she's mad slept on. But going back to 314, I do want to talk about potential matchups for Volkanovski and Patty Pimblett. When it comes to Pimblett, pretty much like the lightweight division is really stacked, and I'm really interested to see who they schedule him next for. So the potential fights, I mean, that I see. So first off, there's Arman. Uh, he's the number one in the rankings of lightweight. And for those of you who don't know, number one basically means number two because the champion is number one. If you're number one, you're basically like the second in the division. Arman and Patty kind of been going back and forth. I think this would be a really big jump for Patty, but like right now, the lightweight division is so stacked, like any fight is going to be a very interesting fight. Charles Oliveira could be a good one. They both have strong grappling bases. I do think Patty may have the striking over Oliveira, but I do think Oliveira is much better with grappling, being from Brazil, and like it just absolute technician when it comes to Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Uh, do they pull the trigger? I mean, like with Ilya Tapora like jumping up to lightweight and not being guaranteed a uh, like fight against Islam Makhachev, I could very well see a world where Dana White should just like, you know what, screw it, I want to make money, and I think a real money fight would be Ilya Tapora making his lightweight debut against Paddy Pimblett. Like that would be really interesting, in my opinion. That would put butts in seats, as they say. That could be that wouldn't be a championship fight, but like there are some fights where you could probably get away with like putting a like non-championship fight on a pay-per-view card. This might just be my casual speaking, but like that would be interesting to see. Like I wouldn't hate it. Um, there's a lot of like the old guard that in the lightweight division that could really uh, like cause problems for Paddy Pimblett because or I don't know, Paddy Pimblett could be the one that breaks it because for the longest time Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, and like Charles Oliveira, they've been kind of like the gatekeepers of the lightweight division. Like they've just kind of beat up on everyone that comes up, and then they get their title shot and go up against Islam Makhachev, and then it doesn't happen. And then Islam Makhachev still like keeps his reign. I could see Paddy Pimblett. I don't know. I mean, Dustin Poirier would be an interesting one too.
Didn't he call
But
him out? He called out. Well, who was it? Who did he call out? He called out. I
I
forget
need
who
to.
he called out. He said Justin Poirier was one of them. He called out.
Ooh, that would be.
Um.
I didn't see that, but hang on. Like, what
Well, in
was?
this, he
Yeah,
went on
I
like
mean,
some tirade.
yeah, I mean, well, like his last fight was Islam Makhachev, and he lost that. He hasn't fought in a year, but like that could be an interesting one. I don't think he's scheduled for anything, so there could be that. But I don't know. For Paddy Pimblett, like anything can happen, and I'd like to keep your eye on that because whoever's next, like they're going to be uh, really like interesting. Like it's going to be an interesting fight. Um, Alexander Volkanovski. Hmm. I mean, the next one in the rankings is Max Holloway, but Volkanovski has like beat Max Holloway 4 times already. So I don't think that's an interesting fight. You could make the argument maybe a Diego Lopez rematch. I don't think Diego Lopez has earned a rematch because he's still like up and coming, like a little bit. So that would be a like it would be interesting, but I don't think that's the move Dana White's going to do. Then after that, in the uh, rankings, is Ilya Tapora for some reason on the UFC website, but Ilya Tapora, as we have mentioned, has moved to lightweight. So I don't see that happening unless for some reason Ilya Tapora just decides, like, after vacating the belt, that he wants to come back without fighting a single fight in the lightweight division. That would be extremely weird. Uh, I mean, I'm kind of going off like the high of Yuri Rodriguez just recently in the card. Like he did beat Patricio Pitbull. That would be like interesting. Like I could see, like, honestly, like I see the, like, it lining up to the point, like the next one up is Yuri Rodriguez, and I could see him taking on Alexander Volkanovski. I think that would be interesting, especially considering they were already on the same card like this week. Like, fight camps can align again if, like, they just decide they could very well get that done by the end of this year. I think that, like, that would be the fight that I'd like to see. Looking at the rest of the division, let's see. So after Yuri Rodriguez, we got Mosavar Imvolev. I'm going to be real. I'm not like too big on him. He is still very up and coming. I mean, 19-0, very solid. Uh, like record so far, going up against Aljamain Sterling, getting a win this past December. So, like, I could see him, but let's go for my answer, Mosavar or Yuri Rodriguez. I think those would be the best fights for Volkanovski so far. And I'm just interested to see where he goes, because Gareth, you missed this a little bit, but like, Volkanovski has kind of like solidified himself like as featherweight GOAT right now. I mean, being able to like reclaim the title after losing it, but going on like his first title run was like an absolute tear. That was legendary. Wiped out the division, basically forced to go up to lightweight, and then came back down. So, like, I think regardless of what Volkanovski does going forward, he's already cemented his legacy. At this point, he's stat padding. But like, I'm here for the ride and see how far he goes in his second title reign. But yeah, that pretty much sums up my UFC 314 summary. This week we do have a fight night. Ian Gary versus Carlos Paredes. Ian Gary, like, like I've mentioned him before on the podcast. Lost to Shavkat Rakimov in his first loss. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Ian Gary does in this one. I might just take him in this one. Like, I could see him very well, like, bouncing back. He's had a like very solid run so far in the welterweight division, and I see him getting back on the horse right now. There's some other like pretty interesting fights this week. They're all going to be on ESPN2, but going forward, next pay-per-view is UFC 314 on May 10th, where we got Bilal Muhammad versus Jack Jack Della Maddalena. That should be good. Honestly, like, comparing like 315 to 314, I'm not gonna lie, I like the card of 314 a lot more than I like 315. I don't know what it is when we schedule fights in Canada. but like we always kind of like give like not like our worst, but like it's not my favorite cards of the year to Canada. Like we definitely saved a lot of good fights for the fight in Miami, but uh, I'll cover that in the next couple, like in uh, I'll cover that in 3 weeks when it's fight week. But so far, really excited for the future of the UFC this year. I think we got a lot of good fights lined up, and 314 so far has definitely been a highlight on the year, and it's put me back on my UFC kind of hype. There was a little bit of a down earlier this year that I was feeling, but like now I got that high again, and I'm ready to see more, and I'm ready to see what's up. But yeah,
I am as well. I'm looking to see when Sugar Sean's fighting next. That's
that
another one where
shit.
I'm
No,
looking
that's
at.
not May. It's June.
Oh
So
yeah, you're right. That's the June fight.
so 316 it is.
So we don't have to wait too much longer.
Yeah, no, that should be a good one.
Shall we proceed?
Yeah,
Where do you want to head from here? NHL or NBA?
let's save our NHL. I mean, we could probably do it like either later in this pod or next week is when like the playoffs really start. So
We could do next week because not all the playoff spots are solidified because Montreal and Columbus are still duking it out, I believe.
yeah, but right now
And
is
that got
the
extended.
right now
So
we're in the middle like of the play-in tournament for the NBA finals tournament. Tonight, the Warriors won, securing the seventh seed in the West, and they beat the Grizzlies, and the Orlando Magic beat the Atlanta Hawks, securing the seventh seed. This brings us going into, well, I don't know when this podcast is going to air, but Wednesday night we have the Heat versus the Bulls, Mavs versus the Kings. Winner of Heat v Bulls will be taking on the Hawks, and the winner of the Mavericks v Kings, I believe, will be taking on the Grizzlies. So, uh, I mean, brief overview for who I think is going to get the eighth seed right now for the West. I could see the Kings beating the Mavericks and then going on against the Grizzlies. I can see the Kings winning that. And for the East, Bulls versus Heat. Um, I got the Bulls winning that one. And then going up against the Hawks, I'll take the Hawks on that one, which kind of brings us to our like the outlook of the NBA Finals right now. We got the Thunder as the one seed for the West, and we got the Eastern Conference. We got the Cavs at number one. Right now, when I'm just looking at the West is absolutely stacked this year. Like even with like the play-in games, like I don't see a single weak team. Oklahoma City Thunder, obviously the number one seed, but like they're going to have an absolutely tough route to like get to the championship because you got the Nuggets with Joker, like absolutely insane team this year. Um, and the 3 and 6 seed, we got the Lakers and the Timberwolves. Lakers, like they got Anthony Edwards, who's had like a very solid year, like so far this year, averaging almost 30 points a game, 27.6 points a game, shooting 44% at the field goal, and 83% at the free throw. this Minnesota Timberwolves team like is very solid, but like the Lakers, my gosh, they're stacked. Obviously, you got LeBron James, you got just like a great team overall with Luka Doncic. You got um, LeBron, Jackson Hayes has been doing like pretty good things as a center, but honestly, like just looking like overall at like everything, like I think it's just Lakers and with like Luca and like LeBron teaming up. I thought that trade was like crazy. I know we didn't cover it that much here, but like the fact that the Lakers have like Luca right now, I'm just like that's unfair right now. Just have been on
Rigged.
the yeah, no, just like have been on an absolute tear ever since like they got him. And Lakers sitting at 50 and 32. I'm not counting the Timberwolves out. I mean, I really like Anthony Edwards as a player. Like, I think he's like kind of got that it factor. Going like, but also talking about another team that like I like a lot. I mean, the Golden State Warriors. Like they've been up, they've been down. Um, I think they've been able to kind of like really correct the ship though, especially with now having Jimmy Butler taking him from the Heat. Like Jimmy Butler, Himmy Butler, that's playoff Butler right there.
Indeed.
I'm not counting a single team out that has Jimmy Butler on their team. And you got Stephen Curry. I'm not going to act like I'm the like I'm an elite NBA ball knowledge knower, but I do know Himmy Butler and I do know Steph Curry, and I know like I just gotta say the Rockets are gotta be on watch right now because I like the Rockets a lot. Like they have a like really like like solid team, but like Jalen Green at shooting guard, like doing good. Like Dylan Brooks, like these are good names. Like I like the Rockets a lot. They've proven that they can like win consistently, sitting at like 52 and 30. But like I just don't see them like as like I don't see them as much as a threat as I like see the Lakers. And like honestly, I do see like I see the Golden State Warriors taking them to the break. I think this is a series that could easily go to like 6 or 7, in my opinion. Like if Golden State like gets their stuff together, I could see like Houston not like being able to show up for this. But no, it's a little bit too early to like to give our like final predictions on like how the playoffs are going to go because we don't have a secure 8 seed right now. But if I had to guess in conference finals for the West, I would probably have the Thunder versus the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals as I see it right now. I think the Thunder is just going to take care of whoever's the 8 seed. They're going to have a tough time against the Nuggets because I see the Nuggets beating the Clippers. Lakers move on to the conference semifinals where they will play the Warriors. That's going to be a great series if that happens. But I do see the Lakers. Do I actually see the Lakers do it? Because, like, yeah, I have the Lakers winning that one. But I think for, like, conference finals, I would have Thunder Lakers on the West. And, like, for the Eastern Conference, like, once again, up in the year, just not as, like, I'm not going to be paying attention to the East as much as I'm going to be paying attention to the West. Probably because I just don't see like I see a lot of these games like just like being like either sweeps or like 5 game series. We got the Cavs at the 1 seed. I've really liked the Cavs like this year. They have like pretty I mean right now like it's saying like a lot of their like players are like day to day on ESPN. I don't know if that's just because of the playoffs or like what's going on, but the only like sure thing is their center, Jarrett Allen, who uh, has been like a pretty big, solid big going. He's almost top 10 in the league for rebounds, averaging 9.7 rebounds a game. He's number 11th. And with his field goal percentage, he is technically first with 70.6% field goal percentage. I see Jared Allen like being a big player for the Cavs, but I just don't know if he's like playoff ready, like for like or championship ready, should I say? So I see possibly I'm gonna have my conference finals be the Bucks versus it's either going to be the winner of the Knicks or the Celtics. Celtics are defending champs, so I do like them a lot. But like, yeah, I'm probably going to have Bucks v Celtics in my conference finals. Just brief overview. If you have any thoughts, Garrett.
I do have some thoughts. I'm not as familiar with the NBA. I've tried to get into it. The Hornets are just too bad. But like Aiden and I said of like several episodes ago, there needs to be like a
Carolina Conference.
Carolina Continental Conference Congress on how to fix the Hornets because it's a fucking disgrace compared to how good college basketball is in this state. But NBA playoffs, like a lot of what I have is chalk, and I don't know. I have an upset that I think could happen, but I think it would really upset my girlfriend with me predicting this. But hey, I gotta side with the Orlando Magic against the Celtics. Other than that, everything's chalk for me. Eastern Conference Finals for me, I've got Cavs and
You lagged out for a second. I don't know if it.
I lagged out. Sorry. So in the Celtics Magic, I've got for those of you who
Orlando
are
Magic.
into the memes, there's a song. So I've got the Orlando Magic. But here, book it here, right now. If the Orlando Magic win the NBA Finals, we will post an episode that is literally just that song for an hour and a half on our channel. We will post the Orlando Magic song on an hour and a half loop.
Hell, I'll fly to Orlando.
He's like, I'll become an Orlando fan. But from there, I've got the Knicks over the Pistons. Yes, the Orange Sox over the Pistons. For those you didn't know, that's what Knicks are. They're a type of socks. Then I've got Bucks over Pacers, and then I've got Cavs over whoever wins the Bulls, Heat, Hawks little like winners losers bracket debacle. Then from there, Western Conference, I'm similar to Aiden. I've got Golden State over the Rockets. I've got the Lakers over the T-Wolves. I've got the Nuggets over the Los Angeles Clippers. I've got Oklahoma City over the Kings, but hot take, it's going to 7 games.
Ooh.
I got Devin Carter helping the Kings just limp along just barely, like he helped Providence limp along last season. That man's used to doing it all for his team. So give me Devin Carter to take it to 7 games, but I've got Oklahoma City. I think there's just too much quality on that team for it. And I realize that's a chalk take, but you can't really argue with their record. Like they know how to get it done. They've lost like 12 times this season, 12, 13, 14 times this season. In an NBA season, what's it, 84 games? Like they win 75% of the time. So that I realize that's chalk, but yeah. My conference finals for the West, I've got obviously Lakers, Thunder, and I know that's similar to AIDS, but I just think those two teams are just that good. Even the Lakers without LeBron this year were incredibly solid. Just with on top of that, like that's got to be cheating at some point. I'm not saying that I'm like, oh my God, they are actually cheating, but it feels like cheating.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I'll say for the NBA. I mean, it's like I said, it's a shame the Hornets Like, I don't think the Hornets have made the playoffs outside of a play-in game. But, like,
They
who
haven't made
knows?
it past the first round. They've made the playoffs before.
They haven't made it past the first round, of course. Although I will say I do have a little bit of a point of contention here with the NBA. And I know this is something people have talked about that the NFL needs to adopt. I don't think if you win your division, you should be in the play-in tournament. I'm sorry. That should be reserved for the wild card teams.
Yeah.
You want an automatic in, win your damn division. I honestly just think it's a disgrace to have a team. Now, I get it. Like, okay, I get, like, the division that the Hornets and the Magic are in. It's not the strongest. But, like, come on. If you want to guarantee win your division, like, that's my mindset. Now, that could just be too much of the college basketball fan in me, where, you want guarantees, win your conference.
Yep.
But
Yep.
I realize pro sports in America are a little different. They look at more of sustained success rather than just, immediate success following you and your local rivals. So,
Yeah.
with that, do you have anything else to add to the
Nope.
NBA playoffs?
Nope.
Other than, hold on, riddle me this, Batman. Why does over half the NBA make the playoffs? I realize it's the play-in tournament, but if you really think about it, it's still the playoffs.
It is.
Okay, I get it. There's a lot of quality in the NBA. I can see both sides of this, but it still feels kind of wrong that 20 of the 32 teams make the playoffs.
I mean,
That feels kind of Mickey Mousey. I'm not saying the NBA playoffs are a Mickey Mouse tournament. That's not what I'm saying. And I get, basketball teams are 5 people with like a bench of 4 to 5. There's a lot of really good basketball players out there. And there's just a lot of quality that people want to see. And I know at the end of the day, it comes down to money. And even on these so-called bad teams that make the playoffs, there's a lot of talent that's incredibly exciting to watch. I get that. Don't come for me. But I will say it is just kind of a weird feeling to have 20 of the 32 in the playoffs. That kind of feels like it's not as exclusive as it should be. But hey, that's just my rant. I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that, if you want to proceed. But
no,
I get both sides.
We can proceed.
All right, welcome back into it. We're going to hop into some college baseball here to round out the episode. Big weekend for both State and Carolina in college baseball. Some nice, solid series wins. Series win over ranked Louisville for NC State. Carolina with the sweep over in-state rival Wake Forest. I'll start off on the NC State end. NC State, after beating Louisville, is now tied with Louisville for 4th in the ACC at 9-6. NC State at 24-12 overall. Louisville now falling to 27-9. Still not too shabby of a record, but not the performance Louisville would have wanted. Believe it or not, if I tell you that Louisville should have won this series. 8 and 9, the episode talked earlier about Rory McIlroy's great collapses of old. I'm talking this Louisville collapse is arguably worse. Like I said, I know I said this every weekend. The Virginia collapse last weekend was bad. I think this takes the cake. So Friday was an eventful one. Louisville jumped out to an early 6-1 lead. Just not great pitching by State. It was just a lot of struggling. The pitchers were struggling with control issues, and I just think there was something going on weird that weekend. I don't know if it was the weather, but both pitching staffs are struggling this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But then from there, NC State kind of fights back. The worst it got was 7-2. But then in the span of an inning, NC State went from down 7-2 to up 9-7. Top of the next inning, Louisville ties it at 9, and then proceeds to take the lead in the next inning, 11-9. NC State in the bottom of that inning takes the lead 11-10. Louisville evens it out. NC State ties it up at 11-11, takes the lead 12-11 later, one inning later, and then NC State gets an insurance run in the bottom of the 8th to make it 13-11. Both pitching staffs are struggling. And this is going to sound like video game numbers to you folks, but over the course of the weekend, Let me fact check this. Over the course of the weekend, Louisville walked 37 batters. That is ugly. Aiden, how many of those do you think were on Friday, based on how that game went?
How many are you say in total that weekend?
37.
37. I'm gonna say 21.
Close. 16 batters. They walked 16 batters. Aiden, I don't know if it had to do with Louisville having a new catcher. There was a lot of wild pitches that NC State scored on. It was just not a good showing by either pitching staff. But, NC State's nationally ranked closer, Jacob Duden, came in, finished out the game. Jacob Duden was actually the pitcher who pitched the most innings, so he actually gets credited for the win, which is not something you can say for a closer. NC State brought their closer in the sixth inning. Which is usually you're not bringing your closer until like the bottom of the eighth, ninth inning, worst case scenario, seventh. But they brought Duden in the sixth, and he absolutely blanked Louisville. Louisville at this point hadn't gone an inning without scoring. They went 1-1, 5-1, 4 in the first 5 innings. And then Duden absolutely blanked them in the final 4. And 2 innings, he was a few pitches short of an immaculate inning. So he came in, took care of business. We're not going to talk about the second game. That one was ugly as hell. State lost 25-8. Again, pitching was an issue. Louisville still managed to walk almost 10 batters in that game. So pitching clearly an issue for Louisville. Then comes the fateful third game. NC State took the 11-1 win over Louisville. Louisville jumped out to an early 1-0 lead, but then NC State didn't look back from there, scoring 2 in the second, 4 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth, and then scoring 4 in the eighth when Louisville decided to call for a mercy rule. This game was also great. It was finally the team was firing on all cylinders. DeCrisio, Mr. Extra Baseman. He'd been kind of quiet in this series, but I think that's just because he kept getting fucking walked. Like, you can't hit extra bases when your ass is getting hit by pitches and getting walked every other at-bat. But, Mr. Extra Base Hit kept it up. Frazeman was another one where he was on point. Hebner, who else? Alex Sosa, some quiet contributions. But looking at it for right now, there were some people who are usually pretty good who were kind of quiet. Josh Hogue, who's been NC State's savior as late. Josh Hogue had 2 walk-offs against Virginia last weekend. Josh Hogue only had 2 hits on this weekend. So a little bit quiet, but that's as expected. Dude, he's kind of a high now. It's getting a little bit of a low. Pitching-wise, NC State did a lot better. Marone and Schaffner, did a good job to kind of limit the damage. Marone getting credited with the win. Schaffner getting credited with the save. But I think based on the amount of runs NC State was up by, I don't think Schaffner gets credited with the save. Also because it wasn't a full 9-inning game as well, because Louisville sued for the run rule. So, but from there, I know it's like, the second win looks ugly, and I know that's what people were joking about when D1 Baseball posted this. All the comments like, yo, what the fuck happened in the second game? But I will say, I know the NC State's defense was kind of, not great, but I think a lot of that came down to pitching struggles. There wasn't actually many errors, which is the first time NC State hasn't had several errors in a game in a while. But what I will say is Sunday was kind of like the nice culmination, kind of the come together. Believe it or not, that Sunday was the first time Louisville has scored less than 10 runs in an ACC conference game all year. And NC State held them to 1 run that day. So I think that was a good way to finish out the weekends. By no means am I saying this was a flawless performance. Should we celebrate a ranked win over a number 16 Louisville? Yes. But there's clearly still some work to do. I'd like to, maybe not give up 36 runs in a weekend. But, hey, we figured out a way to get it done. Hey, it's just like in the 2021 College World Series when we lost 24-2 to Arkansas on the first day and then proceeded to win the next two. Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do to win. But the nice thing about this point in the season is we still learn from it. So we got to learn from our mistakes and keep going. So anything you want to address on the Carolina end?
Carolina had a pretty dominant weekend this week. First game on Thursday was rained out. That game got moved to Sunday. So starting off the week on Friday, UNC won 11-1. Jake Knapp remains undefeated as a pitcher, and UNC really able to get the bats going in the second, third, and fourth inning, scoring 4 runs in the second inning, 4 runs in the fourth inning, and then 1 run in the third, sixth, and seventh inning, tallying the score 11-1. Absolute dominance by UNC. Moving on to Saturday, UNC continues their winning ways with Aiden Ha at the helm. UNC winning 17-1. This game got shortened to the seventh inning. The story of this game for me was just that fourth inning, a lot of just runners just walked onto base. I count 1, 2, 3 walks in that walks for scores in that inning, where UNC scored a total of 5 runs that inning. Overall, just dominant performance by UNC, which leads us into the makeup game on Sunday, where UNC edges it out 3-2. UNC started off dominant as they were known to do in this series. The first inning having 2 runs. Wake Forest, though, kind of was able to creep into it on the top of the 6th and 7th inning. But eventually, UNC got the final run in the bottom of the 7th and was able to hold out for the rest of the game, keeping the sweep for the week. UNC, really great, solid series this week, in my opinion. A team like Wake Forest, just going hot off of a big series against FSU, I was a little bit worried about Wake Forest, but UNC was able to pull through. The midweek matchup for UNC was against Charlotte tonight. UNC able to take care of business, 14-4. UNC continues to climb up in the ACC rankings right now. I believe D1 Baseball reports that they are number 4 in the ACC, behind Georgia Tech, Clemson, and Florida State. This weekend, they have Virginia Tech going to Virginia Tech. I'm excited for that series and seeing what the Tar Heels do moving forward.
Yeah, it certainly is I will say, like I said before, the ACC is a very top-heavy conference. I feel like a lot of these teams can beat anybody. As for NC State's midweek game this week, NC State, unfortunately, does not have a midweek game. That's because they play Cal from Thursday to Saturday. I think NC State should be able to get the win here, either a 2-1 or a sweep. Cal and Stanford, something where Aiden and I have talked about, where we really thought they were better, because they were pretty formidable teams before joining the ACC. I don't know if it's just the travel, and I do know baseball teams do travel, and they probably travel in the Pac-12, but it can be kind of hard for these non-revenue sports when you join a new conference with how much travel there is and just not being used to doing that much travel. I still think Stanford and Cal are both very decent teams. So when I say I think NC State can sweep Cal, I'm not saying that in like a disrespectful way. I'm just saying with how NC State's playing.
You lagged out for a second.
Oh, sorry. when I say that I think NC State can beat Cal in the sweep, I'm not using that as like a disrespect to Cal. I still think Cal's a great team. That's just based off how NC State's playing as of late and how Cal's playing as of late. I haven't gotten a chance to really do a deep dive into where Cal's wins and losses are, whether they're all on the road or somewhere at home. But for right now, yeah, I like a 2-1 series win for NC State here. Obviously, a sweep would be nice and do wonders for the ACC rankings, but at the end of the day, with how top heavy this ACC is, I really don't think it's going to matter where we are in the top 6 or 8, really, just because at some point in the ACC tournament, a tough team's going to have to go through a tough team. Like, you're going to have really, really competitive games once you get so far into it, and those are just unavoidable. So for me, as long as State can get a bye or two, I'm really not going to sweat where they are in the top 4, where they are in the top 6, just as long as they get a bye, which will be nice. So, as for college baseball, I think that does it, unless there's anything else you wanted to touch on quickly before we
No, I'm good.
finish up here. Well, thank you guys for listening in. We thought about touching on some MLB, but we kind of wanted to give it some more time. Obviously, we'll have our NHL playoff breakdown next week. We'll kind of touch on what happened in the NBA playoffs. We'll touch on some MLB next week just because it's midweek. They're kind of in the middle of some series right now, important series for both the Cubs and the Red Sox. But we'll get into that. We'll highlight how the college baseball series went. Maybe we'll get into some transfer portal drama if there's any more. But international, we have an international break coming up, I believe. So maybe we'll touch on that. The Gold Cup groups for the soccer, the CONCACAF Gold Cup got released for the summer, so we could obviously break that down next week for you guys as well. Kind of give us our preview, give you guys our preview and our thoughts on how that's going to go and what we think the U.S. needs to do in order to be able to cement itself and make itself ready for that World Cup, as there's not a lot of meaningful soccer left before we host next summer. So, 2 summers, the summer after this coming one. So, thank you guys for listening in. We really appreciate it. Please smash the like button whatever platform you're viewing this on, whether we put shorts of this up on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, or even on YouTube. So, thank you guys for listening in, and we'll see you next week.